Theories of emotions. Emotional, this is next chapter is theories of emotion. And theories of emotion are mostly based on their process and components of emotions. As we discussed before earlier, components of emotions are subjective feeling, cognitive reaction and behavioral reaction. So as we understand, subjective feeling means physiological change, physical body, what happens when the stimulus comes. For example, when the dog barks at you, so when physical body reaction happens, and cognitive reaction, we think that there is some dangerous, then we start to some physical reaction, either we run away from the situation. Now, all these researchers study on this process, what comes first. In common sense, we always feel that when the stimulus comes, immediately our mind will decide there is some dangerous happens. Dangerous comes. So then the physical body react onto that. So when the dangerous comes, dog is barking, so physical body starts shivering or get tension or beats up. This all physical arousal happens. So then we start run away or we fight with that. There's some actions that we do. Okay. So this is how in a common sense we think. Now, what are the different theories? Let's look at it. The first one is by William James from Harvard University, and Carl Jung is a Danish physiologist. They gave a first theory in 1885, called it as a James Lange theory. They said emotion arises from the physiological reaction. Okay. So our conscious fear comes out of when the physical body reacts at the first. When the event stimulus comes, physical body reacts, changes happens, then we interpret it as an emotion. And it says that the perception of stimulus causes our physical body reaction and we experience emotion. You can see in the example here. So here when the dog barking at you, it says first that physical body reaction happens. So because this physical body is shivering and heart beats up, and this makes us to decide that I am afraid. There is a emotion, afraid, fear. So I am afraid because I am shaking. Okay. It is easy to understand. If we get angry when somebody strike you, okay, but you are angry because we strike, somebody strike you, because that feel pain, or that strike gives us pain in the body, physical body, so that gives a angry. Or if somebody scolded you, you start feel crying, and physical body reaction happens. Because this reaction happens, we would say that I feel sorry because I cry. Okay. So anything physical body is experience certain reactions. With this X reactions, we find we are what emotion it is. Okay. So this perceptions gives us emotion. So that's how James Lange theory, right? When you think deeply, so even when the dog barks at you, we perceive first So because of the perceptions we are reacting. Suppose if you do not perceive there is a dangerous, then you may not react. Body would not change. Body won't react. So then we do not consider it as a fear. So as soon that dog comes, even sometimes there is no dog, when you perceive there is a dangerous, then physical body reacts. So by looking at these reactions, and we consciously feel that we have a fear, right? So that is how it happens. That is how the process are. Then in 1927, by Walter Cannon and L.L. Bird, they give a theory is called a Cannon-Bird theory. In this theory, they said that it both happens together, right? And the perception of stimulus causes our emotion and physical body reaction simultaneously, not one after another. Okay? He says L.L. Bird is a physiologist, research on the brain and brain activities. He says sensory impulses reaches the thalamic and hypothalamic regions. Okay, so these thalamic regions are the initiates any emotional reactions in our body, right? Okay, so this reaches the thalamic and hypothalamic region and then to cerebral cortex. At the same time, the physical changes occurring in the body. Okay, when the physical changes happens, so this emotional reactions from the brain, the regions, it gives us a conscious feel of emotion. Okay, so an example says that when a dog barking at you, so both at a time. So immediately both in the emotional regions from the body, it decides this is a fear consciously, it is a fear, along with physical reaction happens. Okay, I am snarling. When the dog snarling, I am shaking and feel afraid at the same time, both at a time. So together it happens. So this is by Cannon-Bird theory. In 1970, after the cognitive psychology started research onto this, Stanley Sketcher and Jerome Singer, they gave the theories called Cannon theory or Sketcher-Singer's two-factor theory. In this theory, they focus on cognitive process while we have emotions. So they say our judgment of the situation jointly determine the emotion with the perception of stimulus and reaction of physical body. Physical body, right? Our mind decides this situation. For any emotional situations, our cognitive process, our mind has to decide what it is, right? And our earlier experiences, our problem solving experiences in the mind, our cognitive process. So that has to judge that has to give a labeling that what type of emotion it is, whether it is a fear or it is a good one or it is a anger one. So the cognitive has to react jointly with the physical reaction of the body. Thus our emotional arousal depends on both physiological changes and the cognitive or mental interpretation. Okay. Now, so in this experience, these examples, we could see that when the dog barks at you, the arousal happens, and also with the situation near to you, you find whether it is a what type of. If you think it is a dangerous, then you find it is a fear. So I label trembling as fear because I apprise the situation is dangerous. Okay. So for example, suppose if you are stand in front of a dog and the dog is barking at you, the situation near to you or the person who are pricing nearby, if they also feel afraid, then you start it is a fear, it is dangerous. If someone near to gives a confidence to you, then you find it is not fear, it's all right. So these physical reaction that affect our feelings, we decide in our mind that whether it is a fear or it is not a fear or it is a something else the emotion is. So we label it is a fear or emotion, different emotions. This is by cognitive theory. Okay. So these are the theories. These three theories are main theories in emotion. I recapture it that common sense theory. Common sense, generally we think the first one, as the stimulus comes, we think there is a fear, dangerous, and we get arousal in the body, physical change. James Lange's theory says that I feel afraid because I tremble. So physiological body changes happens. So from these changes, we decide we have got fear. Then Cannon-Bart theory, the dog makes us tremble as well as a physical change, right? So both happens at a time, right? Mind interpretation and physical body arousal, right? Both at a time. Then Sketcher-Singer theory says that I label it is a fear depends on the appraisal given at the time. Okay, so physiological changes happens, then depends on the appraisal we get from the next one, we find it is a fear or a different emotions. So the cognitive process, our judgment, our cognition happens, decides along with the actual reactions. Okay. So these are the theories of emotions. Okay. Good luck. Study well.